Today we'll go over partial purchase orders and how to utilize them in QuickBooks Online. Purchase orders in QuickBooks Online enable business owners to submit a formal request to order products from their suppliers. At the same time, it allows them to conveniently run reports and know which items are currently on order. This is especially useful for businesses that purchase inventory, as it enables these businesses to see which items are in stock and which are on order. Businesses may sometimes find themselves in a situation where their supplier runs out of stock on certain products. And so, when the business places an order, the supplier can only deliver part of the order that was placed. The rest of the items may be delivered at a later time, or perhaps not delivered at all if the supplier is out of stock permanently on certain items. To handle this situation, QuickBooks Online can receive part of an order against a purchase order and keep that purchase order open to update as more units are delivered. Let's take a look at how this works in QuickBooks Online. Let's take a look as an example to illustrate how this works in QuickBooks Online. Let's say that we need to order several products for our business. For this, we'll create a purchase order. To create a purchase order in QuickBooks Online, we'll press New in the upper left corner. Then in the Vendors column, we'll choose Purchase Order. We'll populate our purchase order by entering the vendor information and the purchase order date. After that, we'll move down to the Item Details section. We'll populate this section by listing all the items that we're placing an order for, as well as the respective quantities for each item. When our purchase order is ready, we'll press Save and Close or Save and Send if we want to email this purchase order to our supplier right away. When you receive a partial shipment and a bill for that partial shipment, you'll need to enter the bill for the items that you received. To do that in QuickBooks Online, we'll press New in the upper left corner. Then in the Vendor column, we'll choose Bills. After you enter the name of your vendor, a drawer will open on the right side of the screen. Find your purchase order, which should be one of the items reflected there, and click Add. Your bill will then be populated with items reflected in your purchase order. Since our supplier was only able to deliver part of the order that we placed, adjust the Quantity column to reflect the actual quantity received for each item. After that, press Save and Close and your bill will be recorded. Now that we've applied the bill for the partial quantities received to our purchase order, let's open our purchase order again. To do that, we'll go to the Vendors section. We will then locate our vendor on the vendors list and look through activity to find the purchase order in question. Notice that our purchase order looks different now. And this is because we've applied a bill to our purchase order for the partial quantities received. Specifically, we have two extra columns now on the right side, Received and Closed. The Received column tells us the quantity of each item that was received against this purchase order. The difference between the Quantity column and the Received column is the portion of the order that's still open. If total quantity ordered is received for a specific item, QuickBooks Online marks that line as closed, and you will see a check mark in the Closed column. If your supplier communicates to you that they will not be able to ship certain items, make sure to close the corresponding lines on the purchase order for those items. This is done by putting a check mark on the line corresponding to that item in the Closed column. The reason this is important is that if you don't close out this item, it will still appear on Open Purchase Order Report. And so, your Open Purchase Order Report will reflect inaccurate information. So, you need to make sure to update the purchase order for this. And this is how you work with partial purchase orders in QuickBooks Online.